In this example 2, 3, 4, I'm going to teach you something called expansion. So when we say algebra expansion, okay, it doesn't mean that you expand and make it fatter, like the typical expansion. Okay, so when we say we do algebra expansion, we make the bracket disappear. Okay, so in algebra, right, in a way, bracket represents some amount of multiplication. So we're going to make it disappear by doing multiplication. Okay, so this is the first thing that you will need to know. So in algebra expansion, we are making the bracket disappear. And bracket represent multiplication. So for example, for part A here, so you got a 4 and a bracket. So the meaning is actually 4 multiplied with a big bracket. Okay, so you must take turn to multiply because 4 is multiplied to a full bracket. So it's just like you want to give food. You want to give food to everybody in the class. Okay, so you must give food to everybody in the class. So the bracket is like a class. So in this class, I got 2 people. Okay, I'm going to give the 4 to the 2 person inside. So when I give the 4 to 2 person inside, right, I will multiply. Okay, so I'll multiply. So 4 times 2x. So you will usually see me using arrows to show the multiply. So whenever I do an arrow like this, it means multiply. So we distribute the food. Food is like the number 4. So I distribute the food to 2x. That means it's 4 times 2x, then 8x. Then I distribute 4 to a minus 3. So I multiply to minus 3. So 4 times minus 3. Then I will get a minus 12. So when I distribute the food already, that means there's no more bracket. So that is the answer. So after the arrows, or after the multiplication, or after the expansion, you shouldn't have any more bracket. Okay, so you think about distributing the food. Okay, in the next one, I'm also distributing the food. Can you see there's a bracket here? So minus 3 is multiplied to the bracket. So in the bracket, there are 2 terms. So think of the 2 terms as 2 person. So you're going to distribute minus 3 to the 2 person. So you're going to multiply. You give it to them by multiplying. So minus 3 times minus 4. Okay, so your negative times negative comes in. So that is a multiplication. So negative 3 times negative 4. That's a positive 12. So the first multiplication gave you a 12. Okay, then you distribute to the second person. Minus 3 times minus 6x. So if your negative is still confused at the moment, you will make sign error. So negative 3 distributed to negative 6x, you get positive 18x. So each arrow represents a multiplication. So you think about distributing something to two person. Okay, so when you distribute already, the bracket must disappear. Don't confuse yourself by still putting in the bracket. So the bracket is like you open the door and you give the food to the people inside already. So there should be, the door is already open. So the next one, I got a minus half. Multiply to a bracket. So a bracket, in this bracket, there are 2 person inside. So again, I'm going to distribute. I'm going to open the door. So minus half times 4a. You can punch calculator. You will get a minus 2. So the first multiplication gave me a minus 2a. Then you do the second one, distribute to the second person. Minus half times minus 7. Then that will be where you get positive 3.5. So that's the answer. So you are distributing. As you distribute, the bracket disappear because you open the door and you distribute already. So if you see, right, when we expand algebra, it doesn't mean it will just get fatter. It just means that the bracket will disappear. So we make the bracket disappear, open the door, and distribute whatever we want to distribute. Okay, so that is called algebra expansion. So after we expand, this is what we get. We got no more bracket. So in the next part, we're going to explore, expand, and then we're going to simplify. So in a way, I'm combining example 1 and example 2. In example 2, we learn to expand. The bracket disappear. So in the previous one example, you simplify. So simplify means you put the same family together, you add the same family and you subtract the same family. So we're going to put these two together. So when you see brackets and you see like bracket times add brackets, you need to make the bracket disappear first. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the bracket disappear. So there is a first bracket here. So I will get 6x, 3 times 2x. Then 3 times minus 5y, that will be minus 15y. So there is another bracket to disappear. So you disappear the bracket first. So after you disappear the bracket, you look for like terms. So you look at how many bubbles you have. You got the X family, you got the Y family, X family, and then Y family. So put the X family together. And then you put the Y family together. So the X family, 6x plus 5x. You can punch calculator, 6 plus 5. So that will give you 11x. For the Y family, you got a minus 15, minus 10. It's not multiplying, you are just adding them. So minus 15 with another minus 10, that gives you a minus 25y. So that's my final answer. Okay, so whenever you have this kind of simplification, you do the expansion first. The bracket must disappear, then you can reshuffle them. So when the bracket doesn't disappear, it's a bit like the people are still trapped in the door. So you couldn't reshuffle them. So think of bracket as a door. So you open the door, then you can reshuffle them. Okay, so in the next example, 10p minus 3, the minus 3 is multiplied to a bracket. So open the door first. Minus 3 times p, there will be minus 3p. Minus 3 times positive 2, there will be a minus 6. So in this case, the simplify is easy. Only this part can be simplified. The 10p minus 3p can be simplified. So it can be simplified to 7p. So that's the final answer. Okay, this one will be a bit more complex because there are 3 brackets. So equivalent like to 3 doors. So you actually got to open up 3 sets of doors. So each set of doors, each set of brackets, you got to be super careful. So you got to be super careful, especially it comes with a negative. So this is a negative. Negative 4 multiplied to negative 5 is a positive 20a. So you are distributing the minus 4. So I distribute minus 4 to positive 7b. I will get minus 28b. Okay, now the last bracket is the most confusing one. You don't see anything to distribute. You only see a minus. So that minus is actually a minus 1. You are distributing the minus 1. You use the minus 1 to distribute. So you distribute the minus 1. So minus 1 times a, that will be a minus a. -1 times positive b, there will be a minus b. So this is the kind where the sign error happen. And usually your teacher will try to trick you with this kind of sign error. Okay, can you see, right? Because there are 3 doors, after you open the 3 doors, you actually got a lot of terms. Okay, you got A, you got B, you got A, you got B, you got A, and you got B. So it's kind of very messy. The A are everywhere, the B are everywhere. So you reshuffle the A together. Then you reshuffle the B together. So this part, you can punch calculator. So if I punch for A, right, it will be 6 plus 20 minus 1. So this part is a minus 1. So when you punch calculator, you will get a 25. So the A portion becomes a 25A. For the B, you will punch calculator. 2 minus 28 minus 1. So go and punch 2 minus 28 minus 1. So you get a minus 27. So this part will be a minus 27b. Okay, so if there's a lot of bracket, of course it's more confusing. So you got to stay very focused. Every arrow is a multiplication. So you do arrow by arrow. The arrow is opening the door for you, is opening up the bracket. So the arrow helps you to do the expansion. Expansion means the bracket disappear. So only after the bracket disappear, then you can reshuffle. Okay, so think of the bracket as having some people inside. So you open the bracket, okay, then you can reshuffle the people that's inside. So it can be very complex. So usually a lot of students will make a lot of sign error if they don't see the negative. So you got to get used to seeing it negative. Okay, I'm going to give you more examples. Okay, by the end of this example, you should have a good understanding of what do we mean by expand and simplify. So expand means the bracket disappear. Simplify means you add whatever you can. Okay, if you look at this question, right, there's only one bracket. So I can only expand. So I get a 12x, I get a positive 21y. I cannot simplify because there's nothing for me to simplify. X is x, y is y. I got nothing to simplify, so leave it. Okay, so that's called expand. So here also another bracket, expand. Be very mindful, your eyes should see a minus 3. So you should see a minus 3 times positive 2x. And here, your eyes should also see minus 3y. So minus 3 times minus 3y. The second arrow is the one that a lot of students will miss out. Negative and negative, in this case, become a plus. So again, here, I got nothing to simplify because x is x, y is y. I got nothing to add them up. Okay. So in the next one, we got 2 brackets. How am I going to expand out the bracket? So there's a bracket. And who is going to open the door? The number that is outside. There's an invisible number. So this invisible number, you multiply. So you need somebody to distribute, to open the bracket. So that will be the number 1. 1 times 5x, 5x. 1 times positive 8, positive 8. But in the other bracket, the negative represent a minus 1. You must see that it represents a minus 1. Minus 1 times 3x is a minus 3x. This is the one. A lot of students will miss out. Minus 1, the second arrow, times minus 2 is actually a positive 2. So the negative is usually the one that people don't see. Okay. So after this, I will see that I got the x, I got the constant, I got the x, I got the constant. So I'm going to simplify. The x will come together, the constant will come together. So 5x and 3x, that will give me a 2x. Number and number, that will just give me a 10. Okay. Okay, the last one, the last two here. So again, there's a bracket. Who is going to open the bracket? So the number 1 here, there's an invisible person. The invisible person will open the bracket. Okay, but for the second bracket, it's not invisible. It's actually a -2. So be careful. -2 times -3x is a positive 6x. -2 times +1 is a -2. So if your eyes don't see the negative, you find that you keep making sign error. And you won't know why you go wrong. So sometimes you get algebra correct, sometimes you get algebra wrong. So after we expand, we realize that we got x, we got constant, we got x, we got constant. So group the x together, group the constant together. So x plus 6x, that's equivalent to 1x plus 6x. -7 -2, that becomes a -9. Okay. Now, even if you have fraction, it doesn't change the technique. I'm still going to like distribute. I'm going to expand out. So some students, right, when they see fraction, they suddenly don't know what to do. Fraction are still numbers. You don't need to be affected by the fact that it's a fraction. It is still a multiply. So you might, so half times 2x. You punch calculator, half times 2 is a 1. So you actually get 1x. 1x is just a x. Half times -8 is a minus. You punch calculator, you get a -4. So you don't need to be affected, whether fraction or decimal. You still do the same thing. The technique doesn't change. You are still doing a multiplication. So here you have a -2/5 times -10. You can just punch calculator. No need to try to mentor or anything. You are not expected to. So you get a nice 4. That means, right, you actually get a positive 4x. You can only punch calculator for the coefficient. Then in the next one, you get a -2/5 times 15, positive 15. So same thing, you punch calculator. You get a -6. So you actually get a -6. So the brackets are all expanded out. And you realize you got x, you got constant, you got x, you got constant. So put all the x together, put all the constant together. This becomes a 5x. This becomes a -10. So that is called expand and simplify. So the idea of expand and simplify, you need to have a lot of accuracy. You got to minimize the idea of sign error. So you must see that the negative, whatever negative that comes with it.